Welcome to Quick Shots, a short format traditional archery podcast, where we introduce you to some of the world's most influential traditional archers, and occasionally, some random dudes.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Quick Shots. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification. We upload a new episode every Wednesday, and they just keep getting better and better. If you or someone you know is an interesting trad archer, leave a comment below. We'd love to get you on the show. If you want to support the channel, head on over to the tradlifearchery.com. We have toques, we have hats, we have mugs, just a bunch of stuff over there, and anything you buy goes to support this channel. We do really appreciate it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Quick Shots. I'm your host, Mick Chambers, and today we're here with John Dillinger. Hey John, how are you?
Pretty good, Mick. How you doing?
Really good, man. Thank you very much for doing this. We really appreciate it. This is a big day for us here at Quick Shots. I'll tell you that for sure. We got, it's, I know who you are. A lot of the guys in the barebow community know who you are, but can you just give us a quick rundown of who you are, and what your sort of origin story is, with traditional archery?
Yeah, I think like most people, when I was a kid, my dad bought me a little green fiberglass bow, and and you go around shooting at everything in the neighborhood you can find, and so I kind of started there. I didn't really shoot much through high school. Once I graduated high school, I wanted to, I always hunted growing up. We were like a rifle hunting family pretty much. My dad would bow hunt some, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I bought a hunting compound, and my friends, this is when 3D was just getting going, really. This is like the early 90s, mid 90s. And so we would all shoot, 3D all summer basically, and then, hunt all fall. And I grew up back east, so there was a lot of opportunities hunting whitetails for months, it seemed like, with the bow and things like that. So, but really for the most part, I shot compound, I hunted with compound probably for 25 years. Wow. And about 7-8 years ago, I've always had recurves laying around, and I just play around with them in the yard and things like that. Went to a couple of these trad rendezvous when I lived back in Oklahoma. Those were a lot of fun. So it was a big, they do these rendezvous on the weekend and go camp out and, shoot 3D targets with trad gear and stuff like that. So yeah, that was always that was probably more fun than anything, shooting compound in there or anything like that. But yeah, I've always had at least a couple of, have a Bear Super Kodiak and a couple other recurves. Ben Pearson Cougar, I shot that for a long time. Those were, of course, I grew up like in that Arkansas area, and so Ben Pearson was kind of famous back there. He's kind of a legend, So yeah, but I still hunt with recurves now. I've been doing that for probably, 8 or 9 years. I prefer to do that. I live in Utah now, so I get to chase these cow elk, and so they're a lot of fun with the trad gear. Your chances aren't very good, but they're a lot of fun to chase around. So that's where I'm at.
Were you successful this year in your hunt?
I only made it out a couple of times. These competitions, for barebow, they suck up all my vacation. Right. And so work is pretty demanding, so I don't really get a whole lot of time off anymore. It seems like my priorities are kind of mixed up. I use all my vacation for all these competitions, and hunting season comes around and I'm out of vacation. So I usually run up on the hill for an evening or something like that.
It's kind of funny, I just feel I have mixed feelings about that when you say you use up all your vacation on the barebow competitions. And for people who don't know John, he's a successful barebow guy. We'll talk about that in a second here. But these compound guys, when they win, I don't know that they have full-time jobs. I think that is their. I think that's just their full-time job, right?
Shoot. It's for a lot of them. It seems to be. Yeah, they're not like the rest of us. They don't have to work for a living. It seems like they get to have fun all the time. But yeah, my job is pretty demanding, and I have 5 kids, 4 still at home, so they keep me pretty busy. So I can shoot whenever I can. If I can sneak off for 10 minutes to shoot, I'll do it. So
So what are you, so right now, that's crazy. That is pretty good. You originally said you're originally from Arkansas area? Because that's interesting.
Yeah, my dad was in construction, so we moved around a lot. It was Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, that area, Missouri. So that kind of that area down there.
Yeah, the Midwest.
But
That's good.
yeah,
That's awesome.
quite a few trad shooters in those areas. So
Yeah, I know. And then Oklahoma, they're big on their self
yeah,
bow. I mean, love their self bow. You know, and
no,
they have some great shoots down there.
definitely.
What are you currently shooting now?
I'll hunt with. I have a Bear Super Kodiak, and I love that thing. And it's an older bow, but it shoots great. Um, I only pull about 46, 47 pounds, I think, something like that. So it's not nothing too crazy, but anymore, I love getting out. I love getting away from people and enjoy nature. And I live in a beautiful area. So I live in the mountains, they're only about 8 or 9,000 feet, tops, but it's beautiful up there. So
Oh yeah.
it's nice just to get out and enjoy nature.
Yeah, but for competition, and so first of
Huh?
all, for competition, what type
Oh,
of bow are you shooting?
I went to the 27-inch Hoyt Exceed this year
Nice.
in the extra longs. I shot the 25-inch Exceed last year with in Lancaster. I shot the longs in Vegas, where I got some experimental limbs from Hoyt, and I shot those in Las Vegas, and those performed really well. So this year I'm shooting a 27-inch riser with the extra longs. So it's a long recurve, but
That
it seems to be shooting really well.
Well, you shot really, you did a fantastic job in 2020. And if anyone
Yeah,
felt I mean, in archery, if anyone felt the impacts of, COVID, I mean, in archery, you
yeah,
certainly, because you were on a roll.
yeah,
You were knocking it out of the park. I think by February you had 2 titles under your belt, right?
yeah. It was really good. Lancaster, which has always been a dream of mine. I won that. I went in that as the fifth seed and shot my way up. And so I ended up winning that. And then 2 weeks later was Las Vegas, and I've always wanted to win that one. Shot really solid for 3 straight days, and I believe it was the highest score anybody shot in Vegas with the barebow recurve, which somebody pointed it out to me afterwards. So that's pretty cool.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty fantastic. And then you went on later in the year, right? And won the outdoor, US outdoor.
I was shot Target Nationals. Dimmer took first in that. He's really tough to beat outdoors or field or anything else or 3D.
Yeah.
So he actually, I think a week before that or 2 weeks before that, he had set the world record
Yeah.
for 50 meters with the Hoyt Exceed, and I think he's shooting the extra long limbs. So he was going into that shoot really strong. I kind of hung with him a little bit on day one, but day two he kind of gapped me a little bit. So, but we went to. What's nice about that is they use the Target Nationals as a qualifier, and then you go into the third day and you start shooting elimination matches depending on where you're seated, and so you move on and shoot the U.S. Open, which last year, or actually in 2019, it was me and him, and it came down to the exact same scenario. We were tied up, and it came down to a one arrow shoot off. He shot a 10, I think I shot a 9, and so in 2020 we're tied again, one arrow shoot off. He shoots an 8, I shoot a 9. So it was nice.
That's like, so is he your, I know you guys are good friends.
Yeah.
But would you say, I mean, you're competitors too, though, right? I mean, you guys,
Oh yeah. We want to beat each other really bad.
yeah, good. Yeah.
So
Is he
yeah.
driving
Oh
you?
yeah.
Are you driving him, do you think? To
I
be,
think we push each other. We've been kind of doing that the last few years. We're really close. We talk quite a bit. And so if you're just, what are you working on? What are you doing? And if, we kind of pick each other's brains. If somebody's kind of figured out something, then we kind of talk back and forth. But just 2020 was a really good year for me. I think it was one of those, this is my last shot really, to make a good run. I'll be turning 50 this year. And so I spent a lot of time shooting. I spent probably more time shooting in 2020 or leading up to 2020 than I've ever done. So it was basically probably most nights, 100 arrow nights, I have like a little indoor range at my house, so that
I think
definitely helps.
that's famous, and I'll put it up in front of us here. That's the one where you got the tent outside. Is that the one?
Yes. Yeah, but it works great. So like I said, I can sneak outside and shoot for 20 minutes, when the kids aren't demanding something or my wife's not demanding I do something. So
Yeah, well,
it is convenient. So that does help. But
what about 3D? What about 3D? Are you competing in 3D at all, or have you done a lot
in
of that?
2019, I went to 2 ASA shoots. I do shoot some local 3D stuff. But typically, like, we have an indoor 3D league, which we do in our indoor rodeo grounds, which is super fun. And I've done it in years past. I mean, we shoot out to 60 yards indoors. So, which is, yeah, so out here, in the West, it's these winters, they have indoor rodeo arenas. So they're huge. And we have one in the town I live in. And it's a lot of fun, but it really kills me for indoor season because I have to shoot a different setup, and I got to shoot, a light arrow, a fast light arrow, and string walking. And I'm really trying to get dialed with my indoor bow. So I kind of miss that. But we have a few 3D ranges around here, and I'll usually hit them, a few times a summer. But I do enjoy 3D. It's probably where I cut my teeth in target archery. Actually, I never really shot indoor spots until, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. So.
Wow. You come
Actually, indoor archery is my least favorite form of shooting.
Really?
So yeah, I don't shoot indoors very well. I'm kind of claustrophobic. I like being outside and shooting. So it's actually my least favorite, but it's very important.
So tell me how you felt when you were up on stage there for Lancaster. And I've got a follow-up question to that too. I want to understand about you coming in on 5th place and moving through the ranks there. But how did you feel when you got up there? Like, you're on stage.
It's been a goal. Like the last couple of years leading up to 2020, I've come close. I think Dimmer knocked me out in 2019. Richard Barker, who won it in 2018, he knocked me out in 2018. So I've been really close. And I just wanted to make the stage. That was my goal going into 2020. And so I got lucky. Dimmer shot a bad arrow, and actually I had to face Dimmer again for elimination matches to get to the stage. So I had to beat Dimmer if I was going to make the stage. And I think he had a little target panic going on, and I took advantage and I moved on. I mean, I think leading up to that, I was qualified like 10th out of like the 150 shooters or whatever, and Lancaster it's basically the best shooters in the world are there, Yeah. So yeah, and my very first match, I had to shoot against my good buddy from Utah, Jeff Roy. So it was a tight match, and I think it came down to a 1 arrow shoot off. I tend to do these 1 arrow shoot offs for some reason. And then, I remember that. Yeah.
You just love the added pressure.
It's funny because I think back on it, I get in, I don't know. I think it's a mental thing. You kind of mentally check out. Like, I really don't remember a lot of stuff while I was up on the stage. I think I shot so much that I just kind of, your brain just kind of goes into autopilot, and and I was shooting really good. I shot really solid, I feel like, for that kind of pressure. And going into that.
Amazing. I don't know how you keep your knees from not the whole time. I mean, that's why you're a competitor. That's why you're successful at what you do. I think controlling those nerves and being able to control nerves in pressure situations like that, I think that's key to being successful. And you're successful. So that's really.
I wish I could bottle it, because it was just, it just all worked out. So it was just my time. That's the only way I can say it. But I mean, it's like a dream come true, honestly. And, I accomplished everything in 2020 that I've ever wanted to do. So it's like, what is it? What's out there now? So it's,
what do you do now?
and then COVID happens, and I was really bummed we didn't get to go to Lancaster this year or Vegas. So it's all kind of a bummer, but we're going to Yankton next weekend. So I know Demeril will be there. I'll be facing him. I'm not ready to shoot the old guy class yet. So I'll be, me and him will hopefully be going at it and a few other good shooters. So it'll be fun. It's kind of the first big tournament that they've opened back up since last year. So I'm excited about that.
You got some good guys in that master class too, though, right?
Oh yeah. You got Rick and you got a few others. Yeah, you can't, I got a funny story for you. This has never happened to me all the years of shooting, but I go down and I shoot my USA Archery state shoot, which also counts for indoor nationals, like a couple of weeks ago. And I get down there and, we had snow, so I was running late, walk in the door. I literally had 5 minutes before my first practice in, So I had to get checked in, and I go over and the guys are still inspecting equipment. So I bring my bow over and have it inspected, and they didn't have the correct barebow ring to run your riser through. They had like a homemade one that didn't have a slot cut out in it. So he's like, you're going to have to unstring your bow. Yeah. I'm like, I didn't even bring my bow stringer. So I just did it by, with the foot method, and got it unstringed. They checked it out, and I threw it back together and walked over to the shooting line. And basically, as soon as I got there, it was first practice end, And so I never checked my bottom limb, and my string was halfway out of my string groove, which I put this on Facebook. Yeah. I shot that way for 2 days, and I was like, I still shot well. I still shot a 542, which is not bad. Yeah. But there was something going on. Like I shot a 276, 266, or 268, something like that. So it was like something was just not right with my bow. So I came home that night and I kind of retuned, and I went and shot another NFA state shoot the next day. And one of the compound guys next to me was like, I laid my bow down on the floor, not on a bow stand. And he's like, look at your limb. And my string, I have no idea how it didn't come apart for those 2 days, because it was halfway out of the string group. My string was. It's amazing. It was amazing. I don't know if you saw the picture or not. So
I did. Yeah. I can't believe the story. I can't believe the story. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Just that you think that would just fall apart.
I don't know. It was, it's kind of weird. It was freaking me out as soon as I saw it, because I'm like, how did that not just come flying apart? So I never checked it after when I restrung it. I checked the top limb, and then I shot it all day on a bow stand. So I never even looked at it, and I was fighting it. I was ready to quit. I was like, that's it. I can't shoot anymore. I can't turn him to shoot anymore. I'm going to have to quit. So I was actually super relieved when I saw, that my string was halfway out of the groove there. Yeah. I think I was having some tuning issues.
Well, I mean, I can only dream of 268s, but I mean, that's me. Yeah, but that level and just being able to shoot that bow, even, I mean, I think most of us would miss the target completely. No. That's crazy. That is crazy. Thank God for that guy that, noticed it, right?
Saved my sanity, because I would be like 10, 10, 7. I'm like, what the heck is going on with this thing? Or like 10, 9, 7. I'm like, ah. So, but it's just one of those things. Just always check your equipment. Yeah. Look it over really good. And I think if I would have had more time, I mean, I would have looked it over really good. But I was in such a hurry already. I was in such a rush, got flustered and started shooting.
No, that's great. That's great advice.
Immediately it changed the sound of the bow and everything as soon as I popped it back in the string group. So it was funny. So it was, but anyway, that's just little things like that. I'll drive you nuts.
Yeah. So. Just at your level. That's amazing. Hey, so you have a unique shooting style anyway. Would you call it unique, or am I being?
No. Okay. That's why, it's funny. I have people constantly come up to me or message me or saying, well, you need to work on, getting your alignment, your bow arm and this and that. And I'm like, it's one of those things. If it's not broke, why mess with it?
Yeah.
I have made attempts to kind of fix my bow arm over the last couple of years, which it's more solid than it has been in the past. My shot, I think, is a more of a feel shot than like a mechanical shot or anything like that. It's, if it feels right, it's ready to go, so and sometimes I get away with it. Sometimes, I don't, of course, but I tell people all the time, if you're going to copy somebody's form, don't copy mine.
Yeah.
Because it's not pretty. I got a pretty good release, and I think that's what saves me. And it's like, my shot is more of a feel and a timing thing. If you watch me on the stage at Lancaster, it's more of a timing thing. My shot goes off sometimes whether I'm ready or not, and so,
Really?
and it's subconscious, it's like my release and my whole shot cycle is, it goes off. I don't tell it, I don't say, okay, it's time to shoot. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes I'm not quite ready for it, but it works.
Take me through it a little bit. Take me through it. Can you walk me through your shot process from even before you knock the arrow to, the arrow leaving the bow? Take us through that just a little bit, because it is unique.
One thing I really focused last year was on my breathing.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people aren't even aware if their lungs are full when they're shooting, or when they're drawing, and when they're settling into the shot and, getting in their back, or if their lungs are empty, and it's something I never really paid attention to up until the last couple of years. So I made a goal in, last year of really focus on my breathing and make sure that my breathing is deep leading up to even before I start the draw cycle and all that. So I'll actually, I'm always, I kind of set my whole routine from my feet all the way until I release the arrow. I'll set my feet first. For me, grip and bow shoulder are really important. As I'm coming up with the bow, I'll kind of get my grip close. It'll be loose, get it in the right position on my hand. So it's repeatable. As I'm drawing up, I'm kind of checking my bow shoulder as I'm drawing back. Once I get back, I'll kind of monitoring my bow shoulder, because I have a habit sometimes of my bow shoulder creeping up slightly. So I have to watch that, keep that nice and not low, but like in a comfortable position, not high, don't start raising that bow shoulder or anything like that. And kind of before I even start getting settled into my back, I'll check my grip one more time, so I'm not heeling it or I'm not too high. That causes a lot of issues with me. And as I'm settling into my back, I'm kind of feeling in my back, and I haven't even really started holding on the position yet. I'll get in my back and actually just kind of relax. And as soon as it, gets in a spot I like, kind of starts floating, it just goes off. So it's pretty simple. I see a lot of people doing the pulling away from their face.
Yep.
And you cannot shoot like that. You can't shoot. So I actually try to make an effort when I'm training, is I'll actually come back and try to touch my somewhere around my earlobe.
Right.
So that way that I'm not high or I'm not low. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'll spend, just an evening sometimes and just working on that, getting back to that position, like right there.
Yeah.
When I'm shooting good, typically that's kind of where my hand's ending up, I still, every once in a while, I'll pull away from my face a little bit, but I'll immediately catch it. I know as soon as I do it. But yeah.
Okay. And then, okay. And then you have this idiosyncrasy, if you don't mind me, you're kind of rocking a little bit. What are you thinking about while you're rocking? Just, you're settling into are you consciously thinking about that?
I'm not even thinking about it. It's just something that I've kind of just done over the years. And it's, like I said, it's more of a getting comfortable thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't shoot with any tension in my, in this arm at all. You try to think of the chain links, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so really for me, it's just kind of getting the right head angle, which for me, my head angle is really important too. You can't be shooting with your face directly at the target. I'm actually really looking like, oh, I shoot with glasses.
Yeah.
So I'm actually can kind of almost barely see the tip of my arrow through my glasses.
Really?
And that's almost how I know I got the correct head angle and all that. So I don't check string blur. I just kind of get my head in a comfortable where it should be, just from shooting all these arrows, where I feel like, my head is in the correct position, my shoulders in the correct position. I'm in my back really good. And it just kind of goes off. And I have to remember, with my bow arm, I kind of try to drive through the target, as I'm releasing the shot, I'm not like dropping my arm. I'm kind of like actually thinking, push that bow through the target. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
And
now
sometimes
are you learning this on your own and discovering this stuff on your own? Have you been, coaching? Because
I've never had a coach or anything like that. It's funny, YouTube, there's so much information out there and you can watch other people shoot. And I kind of really just try to copy things that work. Like Dimmer's bow arm is amazing. His release hand is really, really good most of the time. Things like that, but everybody's built different. I'm not a flexible person at all. So I can't get in some of these positions that some people can, these Olympic shooters and things like that. My body just doesn't bend that way. Some people are like, it's a bunch of crap.
Like way back.
But I can't. My wife can.
Doing that.
So, and when you look at me from behind, it's like, but it works. So, I mean, it's like, if I was doing this younger, I would probably try to fix a few things, but my body's just kind of adjusted to it over the years, and it seems to work, so.
It's working great.
Yeah. It's just, it's like any other sport. You see some golfers, they have a kind of an ugly golf swing, but they're amazing. They're consistent and it's repeatable. Like any other sport. I mean, some of these jump shots or these, Danny Ainge's 3-pointer,
Yeah.
So it's not textbook, but it works,
So then what would you say to a young guy getting into archery now, or just anyone, they want to get into barebow? What's a piece of advice that you say that, you got to do this. This is the one thing you got to do. This is the secret sauce. This is the Dilly secret sauce. What is it?
I think where a person could really use the most help is tuning. If they can find a coach that could say, this is a good tune for you. I'm just going to say probably the most important thing is have a goal in mind and practice. Just shoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really, I mean, and find out what works for you. When you say, when I do this, the arrows are clustering, and that's the name of the game. They may not be hitting the center of the target, but if you got a cluster that's down in the 7 or 8 line, all right, you can work with that. You can get that up towards the 10 ring, So I think it honestly comes down to how much work you want to put into it. You can't go to the range and shoot once a week and expect to be good. You can't do that with any sport. No. I don't care what you're doing. It's something you got to be dedicated to and devoted to. And I'm talking, competitions, of course. Yeah. But you almost have to eat, breathe, and, sleep the stuff, it's, but yeah, I mean, I think anybody, if they're willing to put in the hard work, and this is something that they really want to do, could be world-class. I think if they, it doesn't matter. This is one sport. It doesn't matter how tall you are, how big you are, how strong you are. Look at some of these archers out there they're not big guys. They're not strong guys. And some of these gals, so it's one of those sports that being 6'6" or 6'7" and, strong, it does you no good.
Yeah.
So it's, it's a really great sport. I think it's kind of, it levels the playing field, you know. So I think if anybody's willing to do the hard work, you know, to do this, and how it depends on how much dedication you have, really. So,
The sport's been good to you too. I mean, right? I mean, you're
yeah.
getting treated pretty well. I would say you got a sponsor now, Hoyt, right? I don't know
Mhm.
how long you've had that sponsor for, but
Yep.
great company, great American company.
Yep.
Um, uh, Great products. I mean, they have winning products now. You know, like
Mhm.
you guys, you know, going out and winning tournaments. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward? What's the next thing that you're looking forward to in, I guess you're going to Yankton. Okay. So Yankton's
Yeah.
your next big, what was it? What is that
Yeah.
called? That's the ASA?
It's no, it's
NFA.
NFAA Indoor Nationals.
Okay.
So typically they'll do it at a, you know, a location like a big convention center thing, something like that. Usually like you know, we've been to like Kentucky and I think Indiana, and you know, these big convention centers that'll hold thousands of shooters, you know. So I think this year they've kind of limited the amount of shooters, and they're doing more shooting times. So it's going to actually be right there in Yankton.
That's
So
awesome. That's awesome. Hey,
yep.
so if people want to get hold of you, or they want to
Mhm.
contact you, or just say hi, or watch what you're doing, follow along with what you're doing, do you have like so you're on Instagram at
Mhm. I think it's John.Dillinger. I'm pretty sure 1466, I believe.
yeah, that's
You
right.
could probably tell me. Yeah.
John
Okay.
Dillinger, 1466. So, you know, there's a lot of John
Yep.
Dillinger. So 1466 to get the John to follow him
Yep.
on Instagram and, you know, reach out to him. So, hey, John,
Yeah.
thanks for taking time. Thanks for putting the kids down, getting on with me. I really
Yep.
appreciate it. I know that people who are listening to this still, I mean, are going to love to hear from you. This is fantastic. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
No
All right.
problem.
Have a good evening.
Thanks very much, everyone. Take care. And again, thanks, John. And we'll talk to you soon. Be safe.